Hi and welcome to Tabletop Gaming. My name is Charlie and today I would like to talk to you about Dragonmeet. More specifically, the Dragonmeet that happened in December. It took place at the Novotel in Hammersmith and was, to be honest, a really great day. It spread over 4 floors at the hotel. It felt busy, it felt like there were a lot of people there, and while I haven't been to previous events to know scale-wise, is this bigger than last year, is it not? It certainly felt bigger than I anticipated it being and was great. It was jam-packed full of stuff. Now that included everything from sort of exhibitors, of which there were plenty and of which have given me some cool stuff that I want to talk about today, as well as seminars. So I hopped in on the Rivers of London seminar, for example, which was stunning. It was so interesting, really, really cool. They really care about what they're doing. We'll bring more details of that when we know more, because I'm super excited about it, frankly. And then like a board game library, so you can pick cool stuff up, and generally just being able to speak to people and have cool stuff around. I do wish it was a little bit more that I knew what was going on before I went. So I went to the Indie Games on the Hour because I'd arranged to meet some people there for the first time, and I did not know it existed, where to find it or what to do with it or how it worked. So just in case you're going next year, they have a really, really cool room, which is Indie Games on the Hour. You as an attendee just basically show up on the hour, and there will be designers there to pitch you and say, right, cool, my game is a blah 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 that does blah blah blah. And you might sit there and think, oh, well, that's not really my cup of tea. Next designer steps up. My game is a blah, blah, blah with a blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh, that, I want to play that. And the people that are in attendance will pick which games they want to play, and then they run with those ones there. So you don't know in advance what you're going to get, but you do know that you'll be able to pick, or if something's not your cup of tea, you can just not do it. But you might be able to find something really cool. That was where, for example, I played One More Quest for the first time, which you will see in one of our separate videos. I will link it somewhere. Well, we did a full playthrough here ahead of their January launch, which is super exciting. The video itself was paid for, but me talking about it now is not. I think it's great. I think it's really fun. But let's talk about the physical stuff, the cool stuff that's here, and it is just a small selection because honestly there was so much stuff there. I bought my first D100, that's taken me too long to get hold of. I'm very excited about it, and you can see in our magazine there is a 10 of the best things that we found at Dragonmeet. These encompass some of the things that I put in there, some of them that I didn't, and some of them I'm just excited about. Let's have a look. So just because it's on the top, I'm going to start with a sort of a mixture. This is Anna Blackwell stuff, as it were. Predominantly this, the Dig, which I think is phenomenal, but I do also have Apocaria, which I will pop up here. Now, Anna Blackwell is one of our contributors. I'm not doing this because she's a contributor, I'm doing this because I think it looks cool. She has some really cool solo journaling stuff. Now, this is a scratch-off solo journaling, like, prompt board. So, what's the description? So she says, the first scratch and journal RPG. That's the way to put it, isn't it? So each day, you scratch off one of these like you would a scratch card and reveal a prompt that's underneath that you will then put into your journal, which is really cool. Now, I'm reticent to do this on camera here because I'd like to do a separate video running through this and the cool things that happen as maybe like a first look video, so stay tuned for that. If I've got the footage of it by the time I upload this, I will overlay, or in future I will pop a link to that video there so you can see it. But it's just a really cool way of not being tempted to look ahead. There's no way you can ruin this for yourself because it's up to you to scratch off each day what it is that's happened, how you've got there, what your discovery is, what cool things are happening. And Dragonmeet was the first time I'd seen this, so this is very exciting. I look forward to playing and look forward to trying, and I look forward to giving you my thoughts on that as well. So, nice and exciting. Now, of course, I will just briefly mention Apocaria. I actually picked this up at UK Games Expo. It has been on my to-do list, sort of like to read. I feel like there's a to-read list, but I can't remember. Shelf of Shame? It's been on my Shelf of Shame for a while because I've been desperate to play this and haven't got around to it. But this is another solo journaling game which sets you up to write the journal of a witch who is also the sort of healer, and the things that come alongside that. So cool stuff you can do, and I know she's got some cool extras as well because she showed me those. It's just nice and exciting. It's one of those where there's plenty for you to do as you go through, and I feel like she's really becoming one to watch. So that's nice and exciting from Dragonmeet. Now, another one. I'm so excited to get my hands on this. I've talked about this for so long and I've like been in contact with the guy who designs this, Rich Oxenham, who is absolutely lovely. But I've now got a sort of in the flesh actual copy. Now, What is this? Why is it called, Charlie? Okay, this is Inspirisles or Inspirisles. I've never been able to say it properly, but it is an RPG that is first of all, wholly inclusive. It's really desperate to try and even the scales, even the playing field, to make sure that everybody feels included in what they're doing. But it teaches you sign language as you go. So to do some things, you may use shapes, and using shapes is then the real life version of using sign language. So you'll learn sort of finger spelling as you go through here, basic terms, and really interestingly, as I've read through, things like how to approach people about sort of deafness or difficulty hearing, or things that are common that you may not think of. So things like applauding, for example. How do you applaud if you can't hear it? Or what sort of perspective do you use? What grammatical sentences do you use? Really, really interesting in itself, but also a story that is just sort of like Narnia level epic, in terms of this is Arthur and Guinevere made a pact many years ago to make sure that the belief remained in this separate world, and you are upholding that pact by, of course, being taken to that world to then to sort of enjoy and have your own adventures through different characters, through different people that are there, and it's just really lovely. Now this was the first time I'd seen it in the flesh. I've kept an eye on this since probably before the Kickstarter came out, so very, very exciting. We have just done an ad that you may have seen for the next one, which is Overisles. Again, that was paid for. This is not, this is just cool. But that has a Kickstarter link up and ready to go, so you can also check that out if you want to see a little bit more from these guys. But ultimately, it does cool stuff. And as a side note, the artist who's responsible for things like this was also at Dragonmeet, and honestly, don't you think that's absolutely stunning? All right, we're blazing through now. Okay, we're up to Shiver. This I'm very excited about. This, again, since I picked it up, has been on my shelf of shame. I'm so excited about this, and yet I have yet to do anything with it, which is sometimes the story of my life. This is a sort of gothic role-playing game that is just pretty epic. It's one of those that you should be able to basically dive right into, because it's supposed to be really, really easy to pick up and learn what it is that you need to do, and it kind of avoids pulling you into the numbers trap. Don't get obsessed with the numbers and stuff like this. It is just a narrative rather than a numbers game. It also gives you quite a lot of freedom, and there's a lot of like spooky stuff to have a look at in there as well. So how different things work, you've got a lot of like adaptability to play in the styles that you want, in the timeline that you want, in the way that you want. And I'm just very, very excited about it. They also, although I believe this is relatively new as far as I'm aware, I haven't seen this in the flesh before, so I think this is one of its first sort of debuts in actual cover, because I remember the Kickstarter for it. There is a sequel coming out. There is another one that will be on Kickstarter, I believe sort of February time. So keep your eyes out for that, because it's just really exciting. If they've gone from this to the next one, I can already guarantee this is going to be right up my street, and I'm buzzing to see what the next one does as well. That, FYI, is from Parable Games. And last but by no means least, this is Untold Encounters of the Random Kind, and surprisingly, it comes from Loki Battle Mats. Now, you'll know from previous videos that I really, really like Loki Battle Mats. Not only are they, as people, the most wonderful people to interact with and have conversations with, but also they create beautiful battle mats that are perfect for RPG campaigns. So they tend to fold out, they tend to be ones that are dry erase, so you can write on them. They're spiral bound, so they lay flat, so they don't knock your stuff off. You have multiple different maps, you have multiple different images, and that in itself, as a concept, as what they are, is brilliant, and I think they do really well as well. So you'll see different versions of that cropping up across our channel, whether we're talking about accessories that we'd recommend, or whether we're talking about sort of roundups, what cool stuff has happened, or even a few unboxings. We've done those too. This is slightly different though. This is the first time they're writing scenarios for you, and it really is a little bit of something for everyone. Now, this had been kickstarted, I think, by the time I saw them at UK Games Expo. This is the first time it had been physically available in the flesh that wasn't their own copy. Which was the one that I saw at UK Games Expo. This is actually available for people to purchase now, so honestly, delightful. Inside here are a ton, and I mean a ton, of different random encounters to try and help you out in your story. So whether it's that you're trying to put together certain events for each one, or whether you've been sprung on that you need something quickly, you can literally go through here and be like, I need something that's in this circumstance that does this. So Inside here, for example, we have town encounters, wilderness encounters, and dungeon encounters. Within those, we then have subheadings. So for the town encounters, we might be at the castle ward, might be the cemetery, the docks, the guild quarter, the high street, the lanes, the noble quarter, the rural, the slums, the undercity. And if I just flick to something, I'm in the noble quarter, and there is plenty of options. And what it will do is recommend I roll a D100 and give me a ton of options, as well as things like flavour text and interesting different bits and bobs. If I move into rural, there's things like considerations and GM notes and all sorts of stuff. Really, really nicely made. A really like chunky book. And we have a nice little, for example, an A to Z there that gives us this. So this will fit with, it's 5e compatible, but presumably there's nothing really stopping you merging it into whatever it is that you're doing. I appreciate the setting may confine it a little bit in terms of this very clearly works really well for D&D, but there is no harm having it on your shelf for other versions, for other games that you're playing, and for other opportunities. Want to build a one-shot? Here might be your opportunity. Want to repair a session because your players have gone off in completely the wrong direction? Here's your opportunity. There's a lot here to like, and I'm super excited about having this on my shelf and being able to use it and sort of pull it for whenever is needed. So this was another one that was a highlight of my trip. Other highlights, speaking to people like Cthulhu Hack and such, there was plenty there. Savage Worlds were there, all sorts. Really, really exciting event to see a lot of what's going on, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to playing these, looking forward to giving you more information on these. Please do expect extra videos along the way because they will crop up because I'm too excited not to talk about these things, but I thought this would give you a nice little roundup. Now if you have any questions about Dragonmeet at all, pop them in the comments. If you have any questions about these at all, pop them in the comments. We will be sure to answer as much as possible, and anything we can't answer we will find out and come back to you so that you can know what's going on. I'm looking forward to heading back next year. Hopefully I will see you all there, and give me a wave if you do go. If you enjoy RPGs, you should definitely check out tabletopgaming.co.uk. I will put the link in the description. We have a monthly magazine that covers all things RPG, board games, war games, all those sorts of goodness and greatness goes into that magazine. And as well on the website we have things like news, reviews, features, anything you could ask for. It's really, really exciting space to be. You can pick up subscriptions, you can pick up stuff from the game store, you can pick up all sorts of shiny stuff, and I look forward to seeing you there. As always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate this has been a quick one, but have a wonderful day. See you soon.